Stop! I can't deny it. We got ourselves a riot. Stay tuned after the jump. Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
No, don't
Beat the step two, step two, step two. Say what?
We're sorry, Catfish viewers.
We gotta let this breathe for a minute. Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Catfish Season 6 Remix. Dynamic duo in the building. It's your man, Chaos J. I am back. It has been a long time. I've missed my partner in crime, the other half of the dynamic duo. Please let them know, oh, where you be?
What's going on, everybody? I'm Olivia Gabaree, aka the real OG, and we're sorry. We shouldn't have left you.
We shouldn't have. Chaos J, KAAOSJ on Twitter, Chaos_Oceans31. Your boy's Real Brady today.
That's right.
Shout out to Jim. All right, so let's go and let's get this started. We've got
Nicole
Riot and Ryan. And
sort of Ryan. This
sort
ended
of
up being like kill two birds at one stone type of deal.
And really low key, should have probably been like kill more than two birds.
I know, but you know, how much can you solve in an hour?
Yeah.
Apparently not enough.
Not enough.
This girl, Nicole, is a true OG catfish. This girl has been a victim of catfish since MySpace.
Like MySpace. That was a cool minute ago.
Oh my god.
That's legit over 12 years ago.
That
At
was
least
a long ass
probably
time ago.
even before that. I'm just go off of when I got back from being overseas was in 2005, and that's when I first heard of MySpace. So right, exactly. You're like, wait, where were you? But MySpace wasn't popping in Japan in 2005. So it's been at least 12 years, probably more. What's crazy is that we even find out that there's like a repository, an online like database that just has nothing but Nicole's photos for other people to just kind of grab and use for their own different various profiles and different accounts.
It's like a catfish bank, you know?
Pretty
Imagine
much.
someone really creates something like this so other people could benefit off of it as well.
It's like, hey, do you want a catfish but you don't know where to get a good photo? Come to catfishrus.com. That's right.
I wonder
Pretty
if they
much.
charge. You think they charge? They should.
I mean,
if you're gonna do it, don't be giving it out for
at
free.
least get that Bitcoin going or something. Get your coins.
Right, exactly. And she was saying that half those photos she doesn't even have herself because they're so old.
That's bananas.
Can you imagine being in her shoes? That's freaky.
Yeah, well, not only that, but the frustration comes in is when you have people that are your friends stop believing that, you know, they don't even believe you. It's, you know, they're seeing all these other accounts as you, and they're like, okay, like, what are you doing? Like, it's messing up your relationships, it's messing up your friendships.
I know.
And you really are the innocent person. But when it comes to a case of stolen identity, especially when it comes to social media, how do you really prove you are the real person and that you're not even just using it, especially in a relationship? Like, how would you prove, like, yo, like, I'm not out here trying to hook up with random dudes. I promise you.
I know.
Like, it's not me. Like, I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, it sucks on both ends because, one, the relationships that you do have are being affected by this, and two, you can't even really start new relationships over social media, at least, because no one's too sure if you are real or not.
Exactly. Bananas. So she contacts Max and Nev, and they talk to her. We find out that there's this one particular profile that's super active in Cleveland, Ohio.
And it has been for years.
Like years. And this is not the typical where we see someone that's on, you know, that's, you know, a catfish account where they don't really have that many friends and they're not really that active. This catfish account was active.
Right, they
like,
were making points to create relationships with multiple people, and it was very clear this person was from Cleveland, so they were adding people from Cleveland. They were liking things that were Cleveland-esque, whether it was
Local
bands or something
right.
like that. And I mean, for a person who didn't know any better, looking at the profile, it would look real because everything is sort of adding up.
Right.
You know?
Right. They're filling all the missing pieces, which usually aren't filled in, that goes on our catfish checklist.
Yeah, it wasn't just a very scarce profile. Like,
right.
But then again, this person was doing it for 10 years, so I would imagine it was a pretty well filled out profile.
Right, yeah, it was, that thing was fleshed all the way out. So she talks to Max and Nev, and then they end up meeting with the new host of the Brazil Catfish Brazil, which is Cero and Ricardo, I believe, are the hosts. And they all team up and they start doing their research, and they find that there's a guy named Ryan who believes he's in a relationship with Nicole.
Right, and Ryan was actually the first person that reached out to them on the other end. But I think this is really messed up of them because they contact him, but they don't tell him what the real deal is.
No. So he, up until he actually meets her, thinks he's meeting her and that the person he's been talking to is the real Nicole.
I mean, wouldn't you feel kind of bombarded because Nev and Max come to visit you and you think you're in this situation, and then on national television you get told differently?
Right.
That's embarrassing. And he probably had so many emotions because, again, this is a relationship that he's had for years and years and years.
Right.
And it didn't even dawn on him that it could possibly be a catfish.
Which, again, to me is like, at some point we need to connect on the phone at the very least.
Maybe he should have contacted Nev and Max himself originally.
Exactly. And not even, again, it's clearly we will never be catfished. Let's start there. Clearly.
I'm like a pro over here.
Right. Because after a certain period of time, one, we need to talk on the phone. Like, I'm only texting so much. And then two, like, at some point, we need to video chat. If you aren't where I can just be like, yo, I'm at Starbucks, you want to meet? We're going to need a video chat.
I know. It's all very bizarre. I mean,
send me a video message, something.
I'll never understand it. But
like, especially when it goes for years. I could see you know, taking a little bit longer than normal if you're talking to someone and it's taking a month or two to get past, you know, those hurdles. But it's like, come on, years?
I know. Years is too much. And one thing that really stood out to Nev and Max, at least, was that this person wouldn't even talk on the phone. And they said, you know, almost 100% of the time, if you can't get the person on the phone, they typically aren't the gender that they claim to be.
That would have been
very
even worse.
sus.
And I was crossing my fingers for Ryan. I was like, at least let it be a female that's like at least semi-decent, that he might even remotely consider. Although in a lot of these situations we see that, you know, the person that's being catfished never really entertained the idea of actually being with that person.
Yeah.
With the exception of like one or two. Like we had the one where the black guy was pretending to be the white guy, but then she met the black guy and then she's like, it's okay, like let's still be together anyway.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that one, but I do know instances when it's okay. It's cool. Like, I love when things work out, but
I do.
But how can you be with someone when they know they're a big fat liar?
Right. Everything that you know in terms of how you guys became to be a thing is a lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's all based off of false pretenses.
So then how do you have a relationship with someone when there really is... There's no trust from the beginning, but is there even potential to build trust? I don't know.
I think it's like, yeah, it's a touchy situation, but I think it can happen. Okay, so we meet Ryan, who again, he said, you know, they've been off and on, but he still has deep feelings for her, you know, and he's excited to meet her. And she, on the other hand, she wants to meet him, but it's not like a big pressing issue. She really just more so wants to get down to the bottom of who is currently using my photo for this length of time that's causing me all this distress. Because at this point, like she said, she pretty much doesn't have a social life, so to speak, because she was always getting accused and harassed, where people thought she was the fake person.
Even physically in person, she came across someone who thought they knew her, and I mean they knew her physically, like visually, but her personality, they knew somebody else.
Right.
But to them, they think that they're meeting this person, and she has no idea who they even are. Like, that's freaky.
It is freaky, because can you imagine someone coming up and they're talking to you like they know you.
No.
And you're like, who are you? Like, I've never seen you. Stalker, stranger.
The internet is the weirdest place.
But it's also the most awesome place.
But I know, everything has its ups and downs.
It does. And sometimes I love the internet, especially when they're dragging people.
Oh,
God,
the internet doesn't sleep.
It's so awesome. But at the same time, when it happens to me at some point, when I am wildly famous, it's not going to be awesome. I'll probably be sitting in the corner of the shower crying. So, moving along, Nicole flies down, Nicole, Max, Neve, they all fly down to Cleveland, and then we go and we get to meet Ryan. And before they introduce Ryan to Nicole, they kind of prep him and say, okay, here's the bad news.
He can't even cry, he can't even feel it because everybody's watching him,
Right.
When you get news like that, I'm going to need a minute or two.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like, I'm like, okay, 2. You know what? Okay, cool. Let me just choke this down. Let me just step outside for a hot minute. And yeah, no, he definitely didn't get that. They go upstairs like, okay, like, are you ready? And they get her, and then they bring her down. Because not only do they tell him that the person that he's been talking to isn't Nicole, but then they also hit him with the 1-2 punch by saying, and she doesn't like dudes. So you don't even have a chance.
Yeah.
Even if she was single and available and was like, well, you seem like a nice guy. It's not happening, bro. Like, he doesn't even play for your team.
She's just really not that into you.
Not at all. At all. They bring her down. They sit down, and she feels bad for him. But she still very much wants to get down to the bottom of it. And you can just see, like, he did a good job. Like, he maintained his composure.
Good for him.
Because this is somebody that, like, I think honestly, I feel like I love her. Well, sorry, bro, because she doesn't love you back.
Oh, way to be harsh about it.
I'm just saying.
But when they contacted who they thought was Nicole, Neve took the reins, obviously, and she was straight up. She was kind of just like, okay, whatever, I surrender, I'm ready. There was no battle. There was no back and forth about it.
Well, I just have a lot going on right now.
Yeah,
I'm just really busy. It's not a good time.
In typical Catfish fashion.
They say all of those things.
They say all of those things. No one is really down from the jump to...
Just to meet up.
I mean, 10 years too long. Maybe she was just ready.
But... at the same time, because she was so willing and there was no pushback, I instantly was like, oh, she's not going to show.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, yeah, she's not going to show. Because we're just so used to it not being that smooth. It's always some pushback.
It was like less entertaining because she was so willing and
just
well
prepared.
prepared.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can meet here at this park on the hill. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
It's almost like she dreamt of this situation for a long ass time, because when we finally get to the park and, they play the Catfish game, like, oh, is that it? Is that it? Is she even showing up? Is anybody even here? And then we see this chick rolling up, the only one in the park, and Nicole knows her.
Right. She's like, what? I know this.
Commercial break.
Pretty much. That's exactly how they leave us hanging. So when they come back from the break, we find out that Nicole knows Erica, because that's who the fake catfisher was. Is Erica
with the A.
With an A, girl. Get it. Erica. So we meet Erica and we find out that she befriended Nicole online, which is how Nicole knows her, and she actually went to school and briefly dated Ryan.
That's a little sick. It's sick because, listen, she reached out to Nicole to be like, damn, that's so crazy. I can't believe you have so many fake profiles of
right,
you.
like so many people
and
are using your
she's
picture.
low-key one of them.
Right, like at this point, let's just go ahead and say she's the main one.
That's bizarre. But she claims that she did it because she was ready to come clean, and then she just couldn't nut up, and I don't know.
So for me, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. All right. She tells us that she only dated Ryan for like 3 weeks. Her family was like crazy religious, crazy strict, and they were like, yo, you can't, no boyfriends, no boys, you guys can't talk, don't even look at each other. So then they pretty much severed all communication between her and Ryan, who she, at the time, puppy love, was just head over heels for. So here comes MySpace, and here comes this opportunity to still be able to keep in touch with him, and she takes advantage of it. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's right, because we know that catfishing, no matter what the situation, is wrong. However, I kind of understand. Like, she really liked this dude, and she wanted to keep in contact now. Where she made the mistake was she continued with this facade of being Nicole Riot when she said, look, I know that this is going to be really weird, but I just wanted to keep in touch with you because I really like you, and it's me, Arica, from school.
But can I just say, if you're going to go...
But then at the same time, why not just have your own profile?
That's what I'm saying is, if your parents can't see that you're keeping in contact with him as Nicole, they're probably not going to be able to see that you're keeping in contact with him as Erica. They wasn't checking up on MySpace
like that.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you're going to go the extra mile to still be talking to this person, why not just be yourself?
Right.
It makes no sense to me, because you're still spending the same amount of time and the same amount of energy talking to this person. You just have a different name.
Okay, so to jump back to her and Nicole, she had said that she had even come across, in addition to the, did she say that she had seen the site with all the pictures?
Yeah, because that's what got her started. Well, it wasn't that exact site. It was another MySpace profile that
had a bunch
essentially
of her pictures.
It would catch fake profiles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fake busters.
Yeah, and so they caught a fake profile on Nicole, who had a YouTube video saying, like, it's really me, you guys.
Right.
Which makes no sense, because then you're giving more resources
for the catfishers.
Yeah.
And she even said that, like, I saw this video and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So when people start to question me, I can say, okay, well, here's this video where I'm, explaining that, people are using my profile and it's really me, when it really wasn't her. So I will say this. She was definitely prepared.
Oh yeah, she had the answers like bullet pointed.
She
on
really
note
did.
cards.
She really did, and they even said, and I kind of felt it a little bit, where they were like, she didn't really feel like, they didn't really get any sense of remorse from her. However, I felt like I did kind of get that from her. Like, I felt that she felt bad, but I felt like she was just overly prepared to explain, and because we're not used to that. We're not used to just getting a whole bunch of like direct, straight answers. Usually we get the runaround, and we didn't get that. So we fast forward to the next day, and they actually have the sit down, because Nicole didn't get to say everything she wanted to say, and Ryan pretty much said jack squat.
Yeah,
he was just kind of low key, just shocked, like, wow, like, I can't believe this, but yeah, I didn't even recognize you from high school because it's been that long.
Yeah,
which is kind of like stab, but at the same time, she might not even. Yeah, like, a lot of people change a lot from high school.
Sure do.
Some people do. Anyways.
Sure do.
So we sit down the next day, and she gets to hear more from Nicole, a little bit from Ryan, about how what she did affected them directly, especially how it affected Nicole, and it's still affecting Nicole to this day. And we got to see a little more emotion from her. She did cry, and I don't know, like, this is one of these rare times where I actually did feel kind of bad for her.
Yeah.
Like I felt the struggle. I felt that she was genuine, and I felt
Well,
bad.
you know what? She wasn't that weird. Like, what she did was kind of weird, but I didn't get... Sometimes I get a vibe from people on Catfish, and it truly gives me nightmares. Like, sometimes Catfish gives me nightmares.
Like, you wake up in cold sweats like, oh, no! Stop! My
I'm
space!
dead serious because I cannot even believe that we are among people that do these heinous, weird-ass things.
And that's just the icing on the cake. Like, that's
It's
not even
weird.
the icing on the cake, because I'm sure there's so much stuff that we don't even know about that goes on the internet.
I know, and the fact that, you know, this guy Ryan, he got mixed up in this catfish, and he wasn't even anticipating getting mixed up in this catfish. Nev and Max found him. He didn't find Nev and Max.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Especially rewatching everything with Charlemagne, how he had the specials the past
Right.
2 weeks. I got reminded of a lot of freaky things that really
a lot
bothered
of really
me.
weirded out situations
and you know what?
involving people and catfish.
What Erica did was very weird because it was for 10 years. She reached out to Nicole. She dated Ryan. Like, you know, we have a couple of weird ass things, but her as a person, I just didn't.
She wasn't weird, and I didn't think she wasn't bad looking. She wasn't necessarily my cup of tea as a man, but I mean, she wasn't bad looking.
Yeah, I didn't
and
get
she
really
seemed pretty
bad
put
vibes.
together.
Maybe because she was so well prepared. Usually
And
we
she-
have
right.
like hesitant, off the cuff answers, and probably their answers are what contributes to me thinking they're weird as hell.
Right.
But
I mean, and again, like, she was really well put together and composed.
yeah.
It just seemed like she was grounded. It didn't seem like she was kind of just like off and like, she legit seemed like she kind of had it together, even though she was dealing with a few things, and you know, the page was a big crutch for her.
Yeah, and it was just the typical, you know, a lot of times people who are behind these catfishes are insecure for their own reasons. And her specifically was her sexuality because of her situation with her parents and her religion. And she came out at such a young age where she had been bullied. And that also contributed to the page because she said she would get into fights and altercations through the internet.
Well, people would just say stuff like, oh, you're fat and you're ugly. Block.
Yeah,
and then they
her.
just blocked her, so she couldn't even get the last. She couldn't even, you know, say anything and speak up for herself.
And maybe that's why we feel bad for her, because there are no circumstances where that's okay or acceptable. Ever. And when you are young like that, you still are immature, so you don't really know how to navigate through a situation like that.
Right.
So for her, this fake profile was like an outlet. Now, was it correct to do that? No, but excusable maybe. But for 10 years, like, that's a little
10 years
much.
is a little bit much. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I don't know. So I felt a little bit bad, but she gave them an apology, and it seemed like it was heartfelt.
Yeah.
And they both accepted. Ryan didn't. He said, you know, I don't really have any ill will towards you. She said she had deleted the page the night before. I mean, we got some waterworks. For me, that usually seals the deal on believability. When I get waterworks, I'm like, okay, they're telling the truth.
Yeah. You know, it was a good episode,
It
but
was all right.
I'm still waiting for that juice.
She needs that juice.
Give
So
me-
I'm going to need y'all to handle that. Mikey, cast us some juice, bro.
Yes. We gotta have him back on the
We
show.
definitely got to have him back before this season is over, which I'm still very confused with the number of episodes. So I'm not going to make any predictions in terms of, you know, how many more episodes we have, but we've got a couple. So we're good on that on that sense.
We'll be back.
Predictions for next week?
Well, the guy
Your
was
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
the guy was very handsome, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's fake.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know, that light skin, blue eyed, dreamy looking
Black dude.
fake. The last time we had one of those, it was fake. You know,
Not only was it fake, but he didn't even play for that team, so he was all
Right.
about dudes.
You know.
So it just completely crushed it.
If someone looks like that, there's no reason for them to be hiding.
Exactly. Like, they're usually out in the forefront. Not only that, but then this guy is actually trying, you know, like, he's really, like, campaigning to have the people that he's catfishing go all, you know, move across the country to relocate to be near him. which is like,
You're
wait,
weird.
you're doing that, but then you're not even who you say you are. So it'll definitely be an interesting episode. I think that's about it.
That's it.
Catfish Season 6 remix. Your boy Chaos J. The lovely real OG.
That's right.
Shout out to Keita, the real Barber Bay. RVM Cuts. I had a brain fart. Shout out to her for keeping your boy so Brady. Chaos J, KAAOSJ on Twitter. Chaos_Oceans31. Oceans, why? Because your boy's so wavy. Get at me. All right, and where can they find you?
I mean, I don't have a special tag like that, but you can hit me up at the real OG, the real_O_G.
Whatever a G would be.
Follow, likes, or it doesn't count. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Hit them follows, hit them likes, click those hearts. Let's get it started. All right, guys. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.